Hello and welcome back to Marathon Man, where I go through Doctor Who from the very beginning. You join me at the end of Season 1 as I take a little breather to reflect on the show so far. So, while I've been focusing on each story as I've gone on, there are certain elements of the show as a whole that I've kind of neglected to mention because they're more of a general thing and they're not related to any one story. And one of those things that I think I should mention at this point, and I think it's something that every Doctor Who fan feels, and that is how damn excited I feel as each and every episode of Doctor Who begins. A big part of that is Delia Derbyshire's arrangement of Ron Grainer's superlative theme music over those strange and alien opening titles. It's a combination which speaks to me every single time. Three separate works of genius combining to make another work of genius on a whole other level that also then operates its own form of time travel. Watching these stories now in 2023, I'm transported not only to 1963, which is a time I never saw with my own eyes but can view vicariously through its brilliant new science fiction show, but also to 1990, when as a child, mourning the loss of my fairly recently discovered favourite programme, I began an education into its extensive back catalogue and, for the first time, met William Hartnell's intriguing First Doctor. Conducting this marathon, I find myself concurrently in my late 30s and 6 years old. Simultaneously in 2023, 1990 and 1963, it's a complex cauldron of euphoria and disorientation, which is a feeling which is conjured up by this fantastic theme music and our mercurial hero. That's why I love Doctor Who. Always have, always will. And I will forever be doing both of those things at the same time. 8 stories, 42 episodes, and an enduring legacy. Space time ships, genocidal mutants, adventure in 13th century Cathay, prehistoric man, a global quest on another world, bloodthirsty Aztecs, mind-controlling aliens, the French Revolution, and a faulty button labelled in felt-tip pen. The new programme Doctor Who was certainly finding its feet in its first year, but it had a lot of fun doing so, offering up outstanding characters and stories in its gestation. I love Season 1, and it's always one of my high points on a marathon. That isn't to say that it's entirely downhill from here, because that would be monumentally depressing. But I do find it hard to deny when asked. Season 1 is one of my favourite seasons. We haven't had 10 stories yet, we've only had 8, so I can't necessarily do a top 10. But what I will do is I will rank these 8 stories from worst to best, in my opinion, from 8 to 1. So, The Sensorites. Previously enough to be a marathon killer, I'm now far more positively inclined towards it. Okay, so the final 2 episodes are still kind of as dull as I thought the whole story used to be, but I have now definitely come round to the merits of the first 4. It also serves Susan a lot better than some stories too. The Keys of Marinus. A novel, for me, take on an alien planet, giving it a variety of countries and systems and people and cultures with a simple enough quest story to keep us moving through them. It can feel a little bit fractured as a result, and while there are some serious drag factors, the good bits really are very good. The Edge of Destruction. A surprise for me, this, because I would have previously said that this was my favourite of the first 3 stories. And while I like the creepy and unsettling atmosphere generated by pitting our heroes against each other and having them overcome by something unseen, I no longer can say that it's better than its predecessors. The Daleks. Because this one is better. Sure, there's an episode that feels like filler, but the tension that's being generated between our 4 leads is still building very believably here. And before they went on to be perennials of Doctor Who, the Daleks make for imaginative and unnerving enemies. So much so that I might be a little bit in trouble with some of you for putting this as 5 out of 8. An Unearthly Child. It comes in for some stick because of its 3 caveman episodes, but first of all, that very first episode is an outstanding episode of television. Not just as a document from 1963, but also as a study in economy of storytelling and mystery building with so much imagination thrown on top as well. And second of all, those 3 caveman episodes really aren't that bad. The Reign of Terror. You can tell my preference is for the historicals, but that aside, this final story of the season finishes with a sense of purpose. Yeah, Ian and Barbara are still stuck out of time against their will, but the show now knows full well what it is and has a sense of wanting to push forward with more adventures. A more mature story, which doesn't really patronise the children watching, this story has a sense of something clicking into place. So which is going to come out on top? Marco Polo. It may be entirely missing, but that hasn't stopped it shining through as a brilliant example of early Doctor Who. I don't know, sorry, I thought there was a pigeon. Its journeying aspect across 7 episodes may be too slow for some, particularly in the absence of moving pictures. But for others, myself included, it's one of the very best Doctor Who stories ever made, and quite possibly the best Doctor Who story ever destroyed. The Aztecs. It was close between this and Marco Polo, but this one just edges it for that extra frisson between Barbara and the Doctor relating to the changing of history. An alliance has been formed between them, and now it looks set to be in danger, and that feels like stakes just as high as the danger they all find themselves in within Aztec society itself. And there are plenty of comic beats in there. It is a brilliant story. Obviously, it's way too premature to start ranking Doctors, but we've had 3 companions introduced to us. Now, if you've been watching these videos from the beginning in order, then my favourite of those 3 isn't going to surprise you. But let's discuss all 3 of them, and if I had to rank them, I would probably do it this way. Susan. Bronze out of these 3 is nothing to be sneezed at. And I think that Carole Ann Ford is a victim of Susan not being given very much to do. In certain stories, the Sensorites in particular, we can get a glimpse of what a great character she was and could have consistently been. And how great Carole Ann Ford is across the board. Unfortunately, she's just not allowed to be that character enough of the time, and those are frustrations that Carole Ann Ford has shared herself. She is integral in making that first episode of Doctor Who work, and therefore integral in making the show work. So it can't be an exaggeration to say that she's played a huge part in Doctor Who still being around today for idiots like me to make videos about. Ian Chesterton. Ian and Barbara almost go hand in hand as companions, to the point where it almost feels correct to class them as a Gestalt entity. And William Russell starts this show as the hero it needs, and pretty much every episode has a good old Ian moment. While he does have the physical requirements of a male hero, which it was deemed necessary to have, he isn't just that, and he has moments of real tenderness and thoughtfulness and compassion towards other characters and his fellow companions. And, like Barbara, he is not afraid to challenge the lead of the show that they are in. Fair play. Barbara Wright. Undoubtedly my favourite character of the show as we leave season 1, even above and beyond the Doctor, for several reasons. There's the shallowest one imaginable, in that I think she's drop dead gorgeous. Maybe it's an age thing, but the older I get, the more I think you can keep your Perrys, you can keep your Zoes, because they can't hold a candle to Barbara. But that really is the shallowest reason imaginable. I've got others, and I promise they have more integrity. She's brave, she's resourceful, she's fiercely intelligent and incredibly compassionate. Without her to profoundly impact upon him, the Doctor would have taken far longer to mould into the hero that he is today. If at all. So that was season 1 of Doctor Who. As ever, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Every little one helps, and quite frankly, the more the merrier. And what do you think about Doctor Who's first season? Does your ranking of the show look like mine? Or do I have to hand in my fan card for having the Reign of Terror above the Daleks? And which of the 3 companions is your favourite? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for a dangerous journey. If you don't want to miss that, hit the subscribe button, clang the cloister bell, and I'll see you back here for a little, really little, turn around the kitchen. See you soon.